Hello, pretty people. All the pretty people say hi, Jerusha. Let me know that you're in the building. All the gorgeous people speak to me. Hello. It's a 1:30, and what do we do every Tuesday at 1:30? A quick lunch and learn. Every Tuesday at 1:30, I share motivation, inspiration, and business tips. And today, yes, is going to be very fantastic because I get to interview Eboni Stevens, and she's going to teach us a thing or two. And so my hope is to shorten somebody else's learning curve. So if you're not already following me on Instagram, on YouTube, follow my YouTube channel as well. Then you might want to follow me so you can get some of this goodness. I love the hearts. Heart me up. Say hi, Jerusha. I should on Facebook. I shouldn't have wore a white shirt because it's reflecting off the light and it makes it look like it's dark in the shadow. But it's all good. And so yeah, so I am definitely looking forward to interviewing her a little bit in our program. And so, one second. So yes, so that's her. So we're gonna make sure that she gets an opportunity. She was in a meeting, she's traveling. So when I tell you I bring the best of the best, I'm trying to make sure that we all have an opportunity to connect with the right people, follow the right resources, the tools, the apps that we all need to be super successful or more successful, depending on where you are. And so, yes, I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about her shortly as we get her to come on the live with us. So if you don't already have this on your calendar, just know every Tuesday at 1:30, I share actionable business tips, tools, hacks, scripts, everything that you need to grow a small business, especially if you're in network marketing, direct sales, which is the best industry in the world, right? To be a part of. And so I want to make sure that you actually are not one of the people that's saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. There's so many resources available for us, but we have to self educate. And so that's very important that you take the time to educate yourself and use these tools and stop letting these tools use you, i.e., social media. Okay. And so I'm going to always make sure that I am using social media to my advantage because it is a tool. Use a tool. Don't be a fool. So Jerusha said. So hello, gorgeous. Good to see you, Dr. Raymona Lawrence in the building. And so it is good to be here today. So listen, if you're joining me for the very first time, make sure you put newbie in the chat. Say, I'm a newbie, Jerusha. That just means you're just now hearing the sound of my voice. You are a newbie to me. I love my newbies. If you watch the replay, put replay. But if you tag two people or share the broadcast, you and I just became besties. So make sure you share. Your business besties probably need to hear this. Your business partners, your team probably needs to hear this because I have the best of the best coming to you now. So I see that she's in my back office, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about her, tell you her accolades and all the things that she has done. And so I'm happy if you're on TikTok and if you're on Instagram, you're going to have to come over here, even though we're streaming in both those places and my YouTube and my groups. So yes, you'll have to come over here at TikTok. So I'm happy and honored to interview this aspiring media mogul. She's taken the media industry by storm. She's Eboni Stevens. She's a wife, a mother of 3 children. She served 12 years in the United States Army. She's a motivational speaker and the spokesperson for Youth Challenge. Serial entrepreneur. That's what I'm talking about. Certified business consultant, producer, showrunner, you name it, media correspondent, currently has 2 shows and have produced several talk shows and podcasts. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today, the podcast area. So she's the creator of Day of a Lady and Fame Expo. Her first business was Eboni Stevens Model and Video Agency in 2005, but now she is the founder and CEO of E-Line Media and Production since 2019. Pretty people, if I could say, stand to your feet. So pretty people, please show some love for Miss Eboni Stevens. Hello, Lord.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Of course, all the people in the chat. So I am so thankful and honored to have you today. So I just want to make sure I don't take a lot of your time. but I want the pretty people and all the audience to know what you bring to the table and all the success that you've had. And they want to know about, the podcasting. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I'm going to make sure that you have an opportunity to explain to them how you became who you are. And I'm so happy to be connected to you. So let's help the pretty people today create resumes like yours. So let's talk about starting a podcast. And I know a podcast is a great medium to cover the key topics in your niche and to show the depth of your topic. And so in this fast-paced world, it is one of the best ways to listen to topics of interest, right? And so all of the platforms, it does require hard work. It requires dedication. It's definitely possible to start a podcast and make money from it. And so as Miss Ebony knows, success comes from a work uniform and a work attitude. Ooh. And so, yes. So because you are an expert in many areas of the media, and podcasting is one of them, can you tell us, first of all, what would you like to say to the audience? But we want to know, what's a podcast? Because you're successful in many things. What's a podcast? And what are the major differences between a podcast and a YouTube channel?
That's a very good question. And Jerusha, do I have an echo? I want to make sure everybody hears me clearly.
I think they can hear you. I hear an echo, but we can hear you clearly.
Okay. So a lot of people think podcasts and talk shows and radio and YouTube is all the same. And so the difference between a podcast, a true podcast, is podcasts are made for strictly blog talk, meaning just audio. So we're in a world where everybody wants to be seen, and we love that because we want to identify with our listeners, our viewers, and of course, people want to know who's speaking to them and give them that advice. But a true podcast is really audio. So that's always the foundation of the podcast. I think what's interesting about a podcast and YouTube is that a podcast has certain platforms strictly for the podcast. You can grow your podcast any way you'd like. And most of us, we also add video to it. But you have to be on a platform if you want to make money, if you want to be successful in that realm of podcast, on a podcast platform. For example, there is on August 11th or the 17th, I think it's the 17th, there's going to be the Black Effect, I think it's called. It's going to be coming to Atlanta for the first time. It's a podcast conference where all these podcasts will be here in Atlanta. They do one in New York City under another name, but this is going to be for Black podcasters. And you can't be recognized there. You can't even be on the platform if you have a video, a YouTube that you call a podcast, because that is technically not a podcast unless you are on an audio platform that streams to an audio podcast audience. So I should be able to listen to you when I'm asleep without seeing you. And if you have virtual, that's great. But if you want to be recognized in the podcast world, which we now see awards coming, we see people now wanting to have conferences with podcasters. And to be able to be like that, you have to be at least on that audio platform.
Oh, I did not know that. I thought they were very similar. Okay, so this is good stuff. So I did not realize that. So if you're in Atlanta, you have an opportunity to go to this event. So make sure you put that on your calendar, Google it, find out where it is. And so the thing about podcasting, this is something that people can learn and earn. So anyone can learn, I guess, the software and editing and storytelling and marketing and sales aspect to have a successful podcast. Do you need a coach for that? Because most people, you said it's strictly audio, but most people, are introverts and they don't want to talk anyway.
That's true.
So people don't want to talk. And then a lot of people don't even want to be seen. So because you said it's dual, you have the audio. And so because my next question was, are podcast audio or video, which is better or which grows faster? So since you're saying audio is the number one, right? Is that correct?
That's correct. So audio is taken like this. You get dressed, right? And to get dressed, you got to cover your body. You can wear a dress or you can wear pants and a shirt. At the end of the day, you have to have on some kind of clothing to be dressed, correct? So that's what podcast is. Podcast is that platform. You can grow it and to be competitive and to make more money. I'm one of those people that say you have to have some video with it, But to have a podcast, you have to have that platform. So you hear about iHeartRadio. The biggest, which people don't really know, Tune In was actually designed just for podcasts. So that's why you have so many podcasts. They even help you design a podcast app. You can go through a podcast website with them. They were really designed just for podcasting. But you see podcast streaming on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Listening Notes, Amazon Music. They even have Apple Pod and Google Pod. Those are the platforms that are really, really, really doing big things with podcasts right now. But most people that are on there, they also have video. Big Facts, which is really known here in Atlanta. They were on a streaming platform just for podcasts for a long time. And people thought they knew who was on there. And then when they brought their face, like, oh my God, I know them. This is so-and-so, so they were on that platform. Because to be honest, when you're on the streaming platforms for podcasts, you start to bring in some money. You start bringing in money. You're being able to be heard all over the place. Same thing with video. The difference with being on a podcast platform is that there is some different tools that's built into those platforms to help you expand. And so when you're doing video, you are having to really, like she said, learn those marketing tools, learn what to do, learn placement of your video, learn when to post. And you want to do all of that. But it's a little bit, I won't say you have to be interested, but it's a little bit easier when you're on a podcast platform because you are being streamed in the areas where, so if you have a lifestyle show and there's a lot of lifestyle shows and your numbers are matching up, then you're going to be pushed out to those popular lifestyle shows. So those listeners that listen to those really popular shows, because your show is doing pretty good, they're going to get an opportunity to see your show stream and say, oh, I want to listen to this. Where in the virtual world, you have to make sure you pay for marketing to be in certain places if you want to be seen on video. And you have to really, really work hard to be seen. Most people who do podcasts, they like to talk because just like what Jerusha said, it is talking. Podcast is very different than, you can actually make a YouTube or TikTok and do funny things without saying one word and be really funny, have plenty of followers. Podcast is designed, and that's why it's called the original blog talk, for you to talk, for you to captivate, to say what you feel. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people, their show may not have any music, they may not have any type of graphics, any commercials that they created. They'll eventually get commercials, but commercials that they created because they just wanted a platform to be able to speak their mind. And so they found out that a lot of people feel just like them. And so they get on and they just kind of like tell how they feel and they grow. And it's organic, it's authentic. And they weren't thinking about, hey, I needed this, an intro, or that. They just wanted that place where they can really kind of vent, and they realized that other people felt just like them. Some of those end up being the best podcasts because they haven't thought about anything but just kind of putting it out there.
That's interesting because I always thought seems a little intimidating, podcast, because you're like, oh my gosh, I got to talk for 30 minutes. I have to talk for an hour. And so many people are introverts and camera shy sometimes. And so the reason why if you Google this, there are so many billionaires that are introverts. And so the reason why that is, there's a link between introversion and creativity. And so if you look at some of the world's preeminent inventors or writers or entrepreneurs, most of them are introverts. And so that's because introverts enjoy expressing themselves creatively through their work, and that's talking. And so for those of you that are watching like, oh, I could never do that, she just proved that, yes, you could talk, express yourself in your niche and still be very successful and grow from there. So my next thing is I wanted to find out from you. I read that the best type of podcast, is an interview format like this. And so are there different types of podcasts? If so, what would you say in your experience and your media background? What do you say the best type of podcast is? Because some people don't want to interview somebody and some people don't want to, have an educational podcast. What do you think would be?
I would have to say there's no best. I'm an interviewer. I like to interview. I like to talk. I'm a storyteller. I write. So I like to hear people's stories. But I would say Blog Talk was really made for just what I said prior to. It was made for people to get out things. You think kind of about TED Talk. TED Talk is very similar when you think about the topics and the information that they're putting out. NPR, you think about them, you think about what's going on. They are really podcasts kind of created because you have these people who have a message or they just have something that's on their mind and they want to speak it. So it really depends on your crowd. What I really love about podcasts is that if you want to test it, you get on, and if you're really passionate about a topic or something, based off who you are, if you're a person that has to have things I'm a person, I'm a talk show person, so I have to have things written. Have to have segments. But some people, they'll get on, and today they say, today I was mad. I was at the store, and they start telling a story. And the best thing about a podcast is you'll find your tribe. So people you have so many people out in this world. I mean, and you have people who have personalities that are very similar to you, or they share feelings. So you'll attract people. Some people, they want to hear, and they just want to have somebody that understands them. And so they love listening to you because you talk the same thought process that they have. Then some people, they're like me. They like storytelling. They like to hear. They want to know about people. How did she create this? How did they learn this? And they like to interview. And so you'll find a great many people that's into interviews. And then you have those people that have podcasts, and it's informational. And so it's about how to change your life with money, how to create a funnel, or there's the how-to types. And those are very informational. And people will put them on at work, and they'll be working, and they'll get that information. They'll replay it back because they can't watch. And then you have people who literally take other people's information. They'll take other newscasts. They'll take other reports. This is other people's content. They'll make a collage of it, and they'll play them back, and they'll kind of narrate through that. You have those podcasts are really, really growing right now. So you have people, especially in the criminal justice world, the news reporting world, have a lot of those podcasts where they'll get in there like, hey, my name is Aisha Irvin, and I'm with so. And they said, did you hear about, and they'll repeat a case and then do a playback of that. And so you get to hear all those details. So if you were watching something that happened in the news and you didn't know the story, the ending of that, and then you're watching, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I wonder what happened to the Ramsey girl. And then you end up really liking that if you're one of those conspiracy theory people.
Right.
And they just play back a lot of other information. So podcast I think that's why everybody's gravitating towards it, because once you get into that world, people come to you. We were testing out a talk show that we had to see if it would be a great podcast. So we kind of tested it, and they kept saying, hey, don't make it public because people will come. And so the other guy was like, no, they won't come. So they made it public just for testing. Right. And because there's other people on the platform looking for our other shows, people start getting on during the testing. So right now, people are craving content. A lot of people, although we think that this is the cell phone era, which it is, a lot of people still work jobs where they can't have their cell phone. There are a lot of people that still sneak in to see their cell phone. It is very easy to be at your work desk and listen. That's why Blog Talk was so popular back in the day when we didn't have cell phones.
Right.
They would get on and be able to listen to what's going on. So podcasts, they really work for people because they have meditation podcasts where they just play meditation music. And that person is talking and they're giving information about how you can do it, but it's very softly with the music. And people listen to that when they're having a really bad day. And then at the end, they'll tell some type of story. So podcast to me is the best way to communicate who you really are with people who are just like you, or you don't have to worry about trying to introduce something to everybody in the world. In a talk show, you're ultimately doing that. In a podcast, I'm being me, I'm being true to me. And people who are like me and like to hear what I'm talking about, they'll find me. They will find me. But you do want to target your audience in order to be able to start to monetize that. But podcast is one of those platforms where you can really just get people in every day because they just need to hear what you're saying.
I love it. It's getting hot in here. So so I know you've already tagged 2 people or shared the broadcast by now, because when I share, you share. That's how we change the world. Sharing is caring. So make sure that you're sharing this now. I know scared money doesn't make money, and I know you know that. And so the pretty people also understand the importance of investing in themselves, which brings me to my next question. And so, are podcasts free? Is it something that you can start a podcast and grow an audience and then the commercials come or the offers, or can you just get on and start talking for free?
So I'll take that back. There are platforms for podcasts that will allow for you to do free trials. And some of them, they'll allow you to do free, but you always get caught up in the hours. So you can get on and you can start a podcast for free. And what happens is if you start being really consistent, that platform will then be like, okay, you've had so many hours, and they'll try to offer you something very, very low. There are a few platforms still, if you use free and you can get on there quite frequently, and they'll be you'll never have to pay anything, but you won't be able to monetize from it. Not in the traditional way of getting dollars from the podcast platform. You may be able to take that and monetize that from your video and adding that to other platforms. but not through the traditional podcast. So you want to be able to pay for it. And they're very low nowadays. So $5.99, $10.99 for the year, only $200 for the whole year.
So
And
you're
the
talking
money,
$5.99 per episode, or is that correct?
no, some $5.99 a month sometimes just to be on a podcast platform. It is, you can start a podcast just with your phone. But what I'm saying, if you want to actually be represented amongst the rest of those people who are competing, and I say competing now, y'all, because they are now making these conferences and these things for podcasts because it's gotten so serious. It is.
Right.
I hope it doesn't ruin the natural ability to be able to communicate with people and to find your people in the world who feel like you and think like you. I'm sure it's going to make a dent because people are going to start coming to people like me more, trying to make sure they have that segment so they can be recognized. But I would be honest, although I like clients, always staying true to yourself is what's going to grow it. So if you get a free platform to try it out to see if you like it,
Right.
and maybe put it on your social media to see what people are feeling, and then go back and say, you know what, I'm going to pay for it, and go ahead and pay for it, then get it and see, let me see if I can make some money off of it. But just don't think make money. Just think, I want to stay true to who I am, and I want to share information with the people who want to hear that information.
I love that. And I say that all the time. You are there to serve the people. And so whoever said the quote, you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. So if you're there, like you said, in your authentic self, sharing what you know, your experience, or whatever you love, the people will come, the money will come. Yeah. And so put it in the chat. How many of you are getting some value today? You're about to start a podcast. Put it in the chat. Say me, if you are about to do that. You have to start walking in your calling. See, understand, no hater can stop God's favor. Okay. Right. So God will give them front seats to watch you prosper and to watch you grow this podcast. And so Miss Eboni Stevens is the right person for you to follow. So please do me a favor, look her up on Instagram, Eboni Stevens on Instagram, or E-Line TV. And she is so phenomenal. Did you guys love this? I am so honored to have you today. So let me ask you this before we let you go. I know she's busy and it's hard to grab people. So please show some love in the chat. Make sure you go over to her page and show some love. What would you say to the pretty people, they wanting to start a podcast, or they're interested in it? They don't feel like, I don't speak well, or I don't, enunciate. So what would you say to just encourage them?
I would say be you. So if you don't speak well, now my thing with speaking is that you can always learn more words. You can always, you can teach yourself how to speak better. But when it comes to podcasting, always be you when it comes to anything in life. So if you feel like people say, girl, or oh, boy, you don't talk right. Be you. There is a community for you. There are people just like you. Speaking is really coming from the people that you hang out with. So a lot of times we may grow up in lower income areas and we just get by the way we get by. We may be from the South and it's very Southern, maybe from different areas. It has nothing to do with your intelligence. It has nothing to do with that. So at the end of the day, if you choose to change the way you speak, that's fine. But make sure, if you got a lingo, a slang, a Southern drawl, up, and you just like, it's so deep, so what? There's a crowd out there for you. And you can better yourself, always better yourself, because at the end of the day, you'll get different people on your show, or you may have different people that reach out to you, and you might want to be able to switch it up and speak in different ways. But you'll never be successful in another person's shell. So if you see Oprah or Wendy Williams or Jerusha or myself, and you're like, I really like Jerusha, I want to be like Jerusha. Jerusha can only be like Jerusha. You make and fake it for a little while, but find that, like, I want to be a better speaker. Well, so what? Get out there, be who you are, find your tribe, and talk about wanting to be a better speaker, so that when you start to grow, your audience is growing with you. Because sometimes you can lose your audience because you got all the folk that sound just like you.
Right.
Now they're like, oh, she done got so uppity. He done got so uppity. No. On my journey, I told you I was trying to be a better person. I wanted to speak better. So now you're encouraging your audience who sounds like you to speak better, to reach out, to read more books, to do different things. But always stay true to who you are. Test it out. See how it goes. I do better in podcasting than in live. I'm always like, I don't want to do live. I don't want to do live. But I'll do a podcast, but I get nervous about just being live. I'm like, I don't know, because people have to keep my attention. I can just talk on a podcast, and I can upload that or go live, and months later, people can still come on and listen. It's, right, to me, the best therapeutic way of communicating with people. It helps you and it helps other people.
I love it. So, yes, so please do me a favor. You guys know I only bring the best of the best And one of my things this year was to make sure I bring people that's going to give you value, that's going to help you go to your personal next level. And so I just want to say thank you so much for your time. I know you got to run to another
Thank
meeting,
you.
but I appreciate you. And please make sure you go follow Ebony Stevens on Instagram. She's all over the place. And e-linetv.com. Make sure you follow her because she brings the goods. And so if you are interested in anything like that, podcasting or what she does in producing TV shows, please make sure you reach out. Just message her. She'll get back with you. And so, yes. And so thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your
Thank
day.
you. And Jerusha, can I add, if they can go to at Eline Media ATL, that's where you'll see a lot of our podcasting. Ebony Stevens too, but if you can go to at Eline Media ATL, if you're interested, you'll get to see a little bit of different podcasts there. You may even see Jerusha maybe on there a little bit. So thank you so much, Jerusha, for having me. I appreciate you so much, and I love your show, and I love the pretty people. I love it.
Thank you so much. And she had a lot to do with the pretty people. She said, you should get some gear, say pretty people. And as soon as she said it, I was like, bam, we're going to trademark this pretty people. So yes. So the pretty people enjoyed you. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Ebony.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day. So yes. Thank you so much. I love her. I love everything that she does. She has a huge heart. And, like she said, I did a podcast with e-linetv.com myself. And she's very good. She's passionate. People that are passionate like me, passionate about their niche. Like I'm passionate about teaching people how to build their businesses online and offline. I'm passionate about the 100 families. I'm passionate about bringing, actionable business tips and tools to help you go forward. So it doesn't even feel like work. Even though this was work, it doesn't feel like work. And working with her felt that way as well. Like she wanted it. She loved it. And so, yes, so I'm happy. Let me know in the chat if this was helpful to you. If this was something that you like, Jerusha, yes. So let me just tell you, my son had track meets every weekend. So if you are mom, hashtag mama boys, the track meets are all day. So my son had a track meet this past weekend, and he recently started training on the high jump. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, another thing. So he runs to the 400, the 4x4 anyway, but the high jump is new this year. And so he came over to me and he had already accomplished or jumped 5 feet. And then it was 5'2", then 5'4", and he goes up to 5'6" and 5'8". And before it got that high, he came over to me. He said, Mommy, if I jump over a 5'6", one, I'm only 5 feet. So he's bragging about he can jump over me. He's like, Mommy, if I jump over 5'6", I'm the man. And so when I saw the attitude and I saw, the belief and I saw the energy, I could feel the energy that he was going to do it. So he had this winning attitude. And so what I want to say to you, when you are afraid of doing something, you got to really change your attitude. If you're going to do a podcast or go live or a TikTok or whatever it is, because perfection is not attainable. Okay. It's not, but we have to chase perfection. And so we end up catching excellence. And so the will to win, the desire to succeed, the urge to reach your full potential. I talk about, I'm catching up to my full potential every single day. I'm running behind myself. So these are the keys that will unlock the door to personal excellence. And so excellence is not a skill, it's an attitude. And so he had the right attitude. And so when you go into this thing, building your podcast or going live, you just got to have the right attitude. You will attract your tribe. Okay. Understand, you're only going to attract the people that's good for you. You're only here because you're my people. You're the pretty people. Otherwise, you scrolled on by. So hashtag to all the pretty people. So if this is good, please show me in the chat. The best way to show is to share or tag someone because we want to help everybody. So much room at the top. It's the bottom that's overcrowded. Please make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow the page every Tuesday, 1:30, a quick lunch and learn. Every Tuesday at 1:30, a lunch and learn. I'm going to try to interview at least once a month and bring you some of the people that are in my circle. I know, girl, I got some good friends. Yes. And so understand that this is all of my way of serving is to show you that it's possible. Whatever you can imagine is real. Whatever you believe that you can do It is real. You just need to start doing it and don't look to be perfect. So another thing, and I'll let your beautiful faces go. Don't forget, a lot of you were asking about the 3-day ride. Yes, that's my signature course. It starts this month. So the 3-day ride is where I teach you how to market, how to brand, what to post, how to have unlimited leads. I teach you, yes, how I built this audience. Obviously, we're going to go over your short form videos. We're going to do a TikTok together. I know we're going to go over sales techniques. We're going to go over attraction marketing, curiosity marketing, follow up, apps that I personally use, books that I personally have read. So I cover all of that in the 3-day ride. So if you're struggling to get leads, the 3-day ride is where you start, because I give you all of what I've learned in the last few years, right before the pandemic. I put it all in the 3-day ride to help somebody else. And so if you want everything up front, the 3-day ride is for you. So tap my face. You see my circle of my face. Tap my face wherever my face is. It'll take you to my profile. Click the link tree, jump in the 3-day ride. Get the 3-day ride, because that's my way of showing you you can grow an audience. I grew one page in less than 10 months. It was crazy. And it went to over 100,000. Now it's over that. So I can show you how that's possible. Obviously, when you have more people attracted to your page and what you are giving, you have more people. You can start conversations, build relations, connections, and ultimately what? If you offer a product, service, or opportunity. And so people obviously want what you have, right? So yes, so let me help you with that. Hashtag 3-day ride, or put 3-day ride in the chat. Please jump in the ride. That's how I can help you build your business online and offline. So yes, I'm just thankful that grace and mercy follow me. I'm Jerusha, and I see you on the page. Yes, yes, yes. So make sure you have the Lunch and Learn in your calendar every Tuesday at 1:30. I'll be here. Have a great day.